Well, you know how the old saying goes, sometimes movies are pretty good. Hey, I didn't say it was a good saying, but in this case it's certainly fitting, so hold on to your butts.
The universe is large, and it contains multitudes, but it also contains me.
The Life of Chuck is a new movie from writer-director Mike Flanagan, and it's about the life of Chuck, told in 3 chapters. Now that seems like a small story, but it is so much bigger than you think. I'm a big fan of Mike Flanagan. I loved Dr. Sleep, and I thought the Netflix miniseries Midnight Mass was one of the best things I've ever seen, period. This time he's adapting another story of Stephen King, but instead of horror, he chose a deeply moving drama that might just be his best King adaptation yet. And if you'd ask me, have you actually read that Stephen King story, I would answer, come on, it's The Pope from Chicago. The movie is told in the usual 3-act structure, but backwards, so it starts with Act 3 and it ends with Act 1. And surprisingly enough, this works perfectly. You get just enough information at the start to make it feel like a classic Stephen King mystery. The film opens with the world seemingly ending. The characters we meet during this apocalypse all notice these weird messages on billboards and ads saying, Chuck Krantz, 39 great years. Thanks, Chuck. As the movie moves backwards, starting with the end, Chuck's death, all the way back to his childhood, we see how Chuck's ordinary yet extraordinary life shaped those around him. And this story sounds pretty small, but it's actually one of the more wonderful and optimistic movies I've seen in a good while. What seems like a tiny little moment early on becomes heartbreaking later in the movie. Like I said, at first it feels like a classic Stephen King mystery, but as all the pieces click into place, the effect is devastating. In a good way. So, did I cry during this movie? Yes, I did. Fight me. The cast is also excellent. Chuck is played by the always charming Tom Hiddleston. One scene in particular is just terrific. It made me want to get up and dance right there in the movie theater. But we also have Karen Gillan and Chiwetel Ejiofor, and I was pleasantly surprised to see Mia Sara as Chuck's grandmother. I had the biggest crush on her when I was younger, but the real standout is Mark Hamill. And I'm not lying when I say this might be the best performance of his career as Chuck's grandfather. I think this tops everything he's ever done. He really is wonderful, and he contains multitudes. Just like so many other stories of Mike Flanagan, there's always an element of grief and trauma, but here it is paired with something different: hope. Chuck's life is filled with grief, but it also contains so much optimism. There's this one standout scene with Kate Siegel's character as Chuck's schoolteacher, in which they're discussing a poem by Walt Whitman. Chuck asks about the meaning of a few lines in that poem, and that moment is core to the story. I'm so glad movies like this are still made. It doesn't have big CG effects, it's just a good story. It's a movie about connection, loss, hope, and the subtle impact we have on the people around us without even realizing it. I hate to use this word, but I think it's fair to say that The Life of Chuck is Mike Flanagan's masterpiece. It seems like this little unassuming movie, but it stayed with me long after seeing it. The movie comes out somewhere in June, so please go see it. I loved it and I highly recommend it.
It'll be a universe. Isn't that wonderful?
I got a confession to make. I kind of forgot to think of a joke at the end of this video, so instead, I'm just gonna do this. Bye.